Okay.
Number 5, consent agenda. Is there anything that we need to remove from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll get a motion to approve.
Make the motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Business arising from the minutes.
The Seton fire notice, I still haven't seen a copy of it, and I asked for it at the last meeting.
What was the first part of that?
There was a letter written to the residents of Seton about their fire services. And it transitioned from the Seton Shalath group over to the Shalath Indian Band. And a letter went out, and I just was wanting to see a copy of it.
So you
It could
still
have been
haven't
sent to
seen
me
it?
and I didn't see it, and it's just one of those sort of things to bring forward in my mind that, so that I'm, informed the next time I hear from one of those Seton guys.
Do we need a motion or anything on that? Or it's just,
There was one
Oh, there was one?
previously, yep.
okay,
So it's just, I'm just
So we just
mentioning it
need
as
you to-
business arising.
okay. 7, staff reports on other business. CAO verbal update.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Just to let local area directors know that they will be contacted by People Inspire, who's started some work around illegal dumping. And they've indicated they want to reach out to local area directors and get their input and information specific to their areas. And so you can expect to hear from them in the coming weeks. And that's all for me.
Thank you very much.
Eco Inspire, did I hear that?
Yes.
Right? That's fantastic news. Thank you very much.
Motion to receive that report. Moved and seconded. All question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. 7.2, direction request, electoral area directors, strategic priorities.
Start at the top.
Do we have anybody?
So it's, I can stick handle this one. I'm not sure what process we use quarterly to get feedback from local area directors, but I understand that's the intent of this, is to update the list of priorities as it exists, and so take feedback from them.
So I'm.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I sent in a Excel version of mine, and I find trying to do it here this way very cumbersome, not only for me as a director, but I presume also for staff trying to work at this and update it. So I took that file, PDF, converted it to Word. It didn't work. To a Word document, didn't work very well. Converted to Excel, it was so-so, and I modified it, and I sent in my updated version. I would like to see a simpler process than what we're doing right now, to make it easier for everybody, not only staff, but for ourselves. And I don't know what the process would look like to make it easier for us.
Okay. So is the cumbersome piece just around the format, being able to make changes, is that?
Being able to make changes and, yeah, and I don't know if it has to be done in public like this, so that everybody knows. Or if we can pre-make the changes and send in something like I did.
Okay.
So I don't know the process. So maybe a review of the process is what we need.
Okay. And we can certainly do that as part of, because this ties into the reporting piece in my mind too. Reporting to local area directors, what, in my mind, priorities and progress and priorities is one of those things that would typically be on the consent agenda. So you would receive updates and you would be able to adjust based on what's happening in your area. So we could certainly take that away and review this in pretty short order, I would think.
Yeah, I think the public needs to know what my priorities are.
Yeah.
And then, this is a document that I can share with the constituents.
Yeah, okay.
You're okay then, Sal?
Yeah, with what I've sent in.
Is it reflected?
Well, what you sent in yesterday.
Yeah.
Which would be different than what's.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
And so that is part of the process. So I understand is we have a list, and part of this process would be updating it. But I think if we were to establish, anyway, we can take this away and look at it, because if we get the timelines right, then you'd be able to speak to your current updated list today.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go away and I can certainly come back to the next EAD committee meeting with a proposal after having talked to you between now and then, if that works.
Yeah, because the other thing on it, it's got future start, timing start, and I've never seen it used. On the document that we're looking at.
Yeah.
And it's also got, director only. Some of them were both actually mine.
Okay,
So I think overview of this little document
sure, okay.
would be good.
Just following up on that, yes, I think it's a worthy exercise to do this. It helps, it's been helpful for me. So I look at it and go, yeah, that's sort of pretty much the state of the world here. These are still the priorities. It's about the right order. And then bingo, Metro Van 2050 deferred from July 28th meeting. When did that get put in there? And the same with the CN Extreme Weather Draft Plan. These are just in B. And it's not so much that I object to them. It's just, I'm not sure why they popped into this document. I sort of feel like this is my document that I would have input into.
So you're wondering how they got there?
Kind of, yeah, like did Metro Van 2050, did that get popped into all of the area directors' strategic priorities? Because it's certainly not one of mine. How's that? Yeah. So that can be removed. And the CN Extreme Weather Draft Plan, seeking input. I've given them some input. I've looked at their plan. I don't need it to be sitting here on the Area B list of priorities.
Yeah.
So those two could be taken out. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, Area C. Obviously, I would like to put in the number 2 spot, advocacy for Weed Road. And then in the number 3 spot, no, so that would be, the number 3 spot would be Pemberton Meadows Fire Department Service Area. Cataline Creek would still be the number 1, but that's, so they would just, everything else would just move down.
Okay.
So fuel mitigation then would become number 4, I think. Yeah. Other than that, everything is good there. And can I ask a question about so completion of upgrades and amenities at Gates Lake Park? The water, the well and the pump, the money's been put forward to do that project. We're working on it. I'd just like to know where we are with it, because I'd really like to see that actually in operation for this spring, summer, the use of park. So I think Angela knows where we're at with that.
Okay, I'll get an update on that.
Thank you. And I get another question. So with Pemberton, the village of Pemberton taking over the recreation services part of it, do we have any say in that, like say the operations of the park, maintenance wise, lawn mowing, all that kind of stuff? Or is that now fully the responsibility of the village?
Well, we certainly have a say in it through the PBIS committee.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, all right.
But yes, they are under contract to manage that for us.
And
but
provide
it's-
us with sort of the service we want.
And that we're willing to pay for,
Right,
correct?
yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. I've had a couple of complaints from people when they have their farmer's market there. The village's staff members been kind of rude to people, won't let them drive in to unload their trucks and such. Saying they have to park up, in the parking lot and pack everything down. That's ridiculous. So now you're packing, folding tables and stuff down, whereas there's a service gate. So you can drive right down to the gazebo and such. And that's what it's there for. So we just want to make sure that there's always reasonable access to the park for, I guess, for vendors at these events. And now that I'm on it, here's another one. So when we did the managing of it, our insurance was at a certain amount. The insurance like that we I don't know if we charged or what, but the villages, I think we wanted $2,000 or something liability.
2 million.
Or 2 million, okay, and the village wants 5 million? Do we have any control over that, or is that back to PBIS again?
I think that's a good conversation for PBIS.
Because when you go from 2 to 5, there's a huge amount of money difference, right? And some of these little groups, they don't have that kind of money, so they're contacting me and saying, we can't even put our event on because we can't afford to buy the insurance. So, whereas before when we had it, it was, I guess, reasonable enough that, in fact, I never heard a complaint previously. So, okay, and that would be at a PBIS table too? Okay, that's good. I'll have to soften the mayor up before we get there. That's good.
I forgot to
good.
mention, and for area B on this, I realized in going through this agenda package and then reviewing the OCP for area B, that it needs to be updated. I thought it was pretty good when I read it a couple of years ago, but when I looked at it really critically recently, in light of some of these suggestions, so maybe in the next term, the area B OCP could get on the list for an update. I know it's a big job, but just to get it on the laundry list that staff has. And of course, a C2C forum in the next term would be great too. So, thank you. And D.
So everybody's comfortable with what's there then? Okay. So could I have a motion to,
So Chair, usually we do a motion to approve it as amended.
okay,
Okay.
Director Demare hasn't gone through his items.
Do you want me to?
So
Well, I can read out
Yeah,
from my Excel spreadsheet if you want.
because you need it done in a meeting, right?
That's our current process. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, number one priority is Area A OCP update. Number two priority is road advocacy, Road 40 infrastructure safety improvement program, and the Hurley FSR road bed material. Number three is fuel mitigation projects in each of the 6 Area A neighborhoods. Number four.
So that's the
complete-
current, sorry, that's the current number 8.
It's changed because I've added text.
Okay,
So
so,
a lot of these are changed.
sorry, so that's now, it's gonna be your new number 3. Okay,
Yeah.
with text added.
Number four, completion of Railroad and Sewer project. Number 5, Railroad Main Street repaving.
What's the number on the sheet?
Oh,
I'm 3.
Sorry, thank you, that's number 5, okay.
yeah. Number 6, First Nations relationship building, including C2C.
That's 4 now.
No, that's,
Yes,
yeah, it's
new 6, yeah.
number 7, search and rescue first responder program. And I think the rest should be the same.
So that would be,
Starting at,
current number 7 is now number 8. And the current number 9 stays number 9, so the rest stays.
yep.
Should I make some changes to Director Rainbow since he's not here?
And number 16, I've changed the word and I've added continue to support mental communications. That's number 16.
Okay, everybody's good now? So we just need a motion to receive as amended
Or approved, as amended.
approved as amended.
Approve as
Okay.
amended,
Yes.
please.
Okay, moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. 7.2.
That was electoral.
Chair, we have a timed item at 11. Sorry. Item 7.8 is a presentation at 11.
Okay, where are we at? Oh, 11:16 now.
Would you like me to get?
That'd be great, thank you.
Oh, from Leanna, great.
That was 7.8.
7.8 is the local government internship staff presentation.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, good. Hi. So I guess I should just jump right into my presentation. It's good to go.
Go for it, yes.
Okay, so my presentation is to provide an overview of the Northern Development Initiative Trust 2021 local government internship and my work completed over the year. So the SLRD applied for intern to work for a period of 12 months, starting last May of 2021. And I had a variety of responsibilities, including a couple of tasks and projects to complete throughout the year with the working throughout the departments of the SLRD. The work plan focused in the northern part and supported the specific needs of the subregion, with work being assigned throughout the region to support more comprehensive work experience. So I'm just gonna read out basically highlights of what I completed. And at the end, if you have any questions, you can ask me about what I've done. So starting off, I worked for the NETIC meeting support, so assisting with AV and just meeting, supporting for meetings for this hybrid setup.
Thank you.
No worries. And then the second for NETIC, as you may have remembered or recalled, they you guys voted on having a priority of initiative starting to work with the First Nations in the region. And so I helped with that task. And that included attending the organizing committee for New Quantal, supported by the communications department. And I helped take meeting minutes, and I attended the meetings in the fall, and I distributed all the meeting minutes to the attendees. There was going to be a community forum in the winter of February of 2022, but it got delayed due to COVID-19. So it's still to be determined, but that help assisted that work priority. So my second task was asset management program support. So I built an Excel sheet for compiling all land-based assets in the SLRD, which includes right-of-ways, crown land leases, agreements, and park dedications. And now this work will be taken over by the one of the staff at the SLRD who works with asset management. And thirdly, I help with communication support. So I was trained on the SLRD's website and how to publish a notice and just writing in general. And then I attended the communications meetings. I also updated emergency contact lists for the SLRD for their emergency management departments. So reaching out to stakeholders and talking to them and getting their information. This was actually used over the 2021 wildfire season, since there was an emergency activation. And then I also just recently assisted in coordinating like communications and logistics for the Reed Road Town Hall meeting, which happened in March 26, 2022. I created name tags for the panelists and signage, and I attended the meeting and helped take down and set up and did vaccine passport check-ins too. Then I did transfer stations in Goldbridge and the Goldbridge bylaws. So that was for that northern part. I made an Excel sheet work plan for the tipping fees bylaws for the SLRD. And then I assisted in updating the Goldbridge bylaw with the UES department. And I've also done virtual meeting support and meeting attendance. So coordination in scheduling the Sea to Sky Regional Transit meeting for elected officials and representatives in the area and local governments. So I had to email all elected officials and communicate through that correspondence and schedule the meetings. I also attended several online meetings hosted by external parties such as BC Hydro, BC Climate Preparedness and Adaptation Strategy webinars, UBCM meetings, and taken notes and distributed those. Another task I did was bylaw service amendment process. So I compiled all the data around the Howe Sound East Fire Protection Enhanced Service from the BC assessments, and I distributed that edited data to the finance department. And another task was Area A parks. So I reached out to the contractors in that area and I assisted coordination of information for Bray Lauren picnic table project. I know Sal, it's gotten delayed, but I'm glad I got to work with that. And liaising with community organizations funded by the SLRD. Which included Area A. So I wrote and edited a contribution agreement for the Marshall Valley Rural Urban Interface Mitigation Program. And then currently I am filling in as an administrative clerk from March to the end of my internship. And so that includes doing all the admin tasks, answering the phone, coordination of lunches, mailing, and other things. And throughout that year, I also did a couple of professional development courses funded by NDIT, and that helped assisted me in my work. And yeah, so that's my list of my tasks I did over the year. And if there's any other questions or comments, please feel free to ask.
No, it sounds very interesting. Vivian.
Yes, and it, first of all, thank you for your work and for coming to work with us. And I know Melanie did some very skilled footwork to get an NDIT internship for us based on areas A, B, and Lillooet, which is where NDIT serves. And even though you did do considerable work in the rest of the area, a lot in C, I kind of really recognize that with the heat dome and the fires and the pandemic, like it was just an absolutely bizarre year for you to have this experience. It sounds like you did all kinds of really neat, interesting things and were a great help. And so thank you. And I hope that you stay in local government. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also want to thank you. And, you know, some of the work that you've done, you know, I've looked at it and you've done pretty good. And that's great that you're learning. And I hope that you continue on in local government.
Yeah.
And maybe even for the SLRD.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm moving to Campbell River in the fall of 2022. So we'll see how it looks. But you know, if you guys know anyone in that region, feel free to let me know. And that's slated for September 2022.
Good for you. Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, and I definitely want to thank you. That Reed Road open house was very, very well attended. And it was, I think it was very professionally done, put on. The people that I talked to, I mean, there was people there that had their concerns. Absolutely, they have concerns, but I thought they were very respectful, talked to a lot of the people after the fact, and they were very happy that they had the opportunity to speak. And, you know, it was really well put on. So good stuff. Thank you.
Great.
Great job, great brief too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very good.
Okay, this is a very valuable program that NDIT offers, and I hope we take advantage of it again.
So it says here that you have to make application in January of each year for the funding to move forward. Do you know if we did that this year?
I don't.
Yes, we did. And
We did?
Yeah. And the two, they only give out so many.
Yeah.
And we weren't one of them.
Okay. So we should keep applying, you know, every January.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yep, no worries.
I was gonna say good luck in Campbell River, but maybe
Good
we'll,
fishing.
yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of fishing there.
Very high house prices. I found out.
Oh, yeah.
AD.
That's-
Yeah, they're everywhere. You
Mhm.
can't escape that fact. Okay, well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Motion to receive?
Motion to receive. Moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Now we go back to 7.2.
7.3. Bring this. Bring that in. She's here for the next few.
For the, oh, sorry, yeah, for 7.2.
7.3.
Excuse me, yeah, 7.3. Request for decision, design guidelines for affordable multi-family housing, OCP amendments. You've got some questions on this one, Vivian? Okay.
Did you have anything to do to introduce this, Ms. Katerniak, or just want to go right to questions and discussion?
Yeah, I can summarize the report. Good morning, everyone. This is a report on affordable housing design guidelines in response to previously made resolution to use the BC housing definition to update SLRD policy documents and to set the minimum designed standards for unit size, storage, and balcony space as part of the OCP. As such, it is proposed that affordable housing is clearly defined in the OCPs and that the definitions are consistent between the OCPs. More specifically, affordable housing is proposed to be defined as rental or ownership housing, priced so that monthly payments are less than 30% or less of gross household income. So the definition further goes to describe that there are different types of affordable housing, such as emergency shelters, transitional housing, supportive housing, social and co-op housing, and below market rental housing, which are further defined in the BC Housing Glossary of Terms. And so a number of policies in support of affordable housing are further proposed to be added as a separate section to each OCP. Some of those policies include considering affordable housing as a top priority in community amenity contributions, requiring that multifamily developments contribute 15% of units as affordable housing, focusing affordable housing in designated growth areas. And in addition to 5 policies that will be added to all OCPs, a number of other policies are proposed to be added to individual OCPs as per the recommendations in the housing needs and demand study that pertain to each individual electoral area. And so overall, these policies are intended to prioritize affordable housing as a necessity in the region and as a way to show regional support through these types of initiatives. And so lastly, moving on to design guidelines, affordable almost always means multifamily housing, and as such, we're proposing to introduce a multifamily design guideline section for first reading to each OCP, and it will address both affordable and market multifamily design concerns. The guidelines speak to unit and storage sizes. So for example, a 2-bedroom apartment is set to a minimum of 725 square feet, 4% of which, or 29 square feet, will be dedicated to in-suite storage. The guidelines also speak to providing outdoor space in the form of a patio, balcony, or rooftop of at least around 60 square feet. Other guidelines are also proposed to ensure proper siting, landscaping, and compatibility with surrounding character. So this concludes the summary. Please let me know if I can answer any questions or provide further details or anything.
Yeah, Vivian?
Okay, thank you for your report. Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure, the report helps a little bit for me to understand why we were kind of doing this at this point in time, because it sort of came out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned. Yes, the affordable housing. I like the definition of affordable housing, and I'm fine with that being added to the Area B plan. A lot of the other is too detailed and way too premature. It made me go to the Area B OCP and look and review it again myself. And I realized, oh my goodness, we've got references in there to the SLRD climate change policy goals for 2020. Like, oh, okay, like there's quite a bit that's quite outdated. There's references to the Seton-Chalath Fire Department, for example, which is now underneath the Chalath First Nation. So I went, okay, the OCP needs some updating. And I consider a lot of this too detailed and premature and not appropriate for Area B. So maybe some of this could be looked at when we update the Area B OCP. That was my best idea. And there was things like solar, a reference to solar. And I thought, oh, good, because we have like too much sun in Area B. It's, especially after the heat dome, something that people will want to build, considering avoiding a lot of solar. This is talking about more sunshine, like let's put these buildings in a way that gives maximum sunshine. Not in Area B unless you're going to be working with solar, and there's no reference to sort of solar energy, which I think there should be. It's talking about just sunshine as a nice feature in housing, whereas what we're more looking for is shade in often. And so there was lots. And then things like asking for a shadow analysis as part of your building application. And the shadow analysis involves 4 dates and 4 times during the day, specific seasons and so on. That's way too prescriptive for people. And I mean, I had a solar analysis done on my own property when we were putting in solar panels. And we did the same at the rec center, but that was for that reason. Whereas this is just, I don't know, it didn't make really great working sense to me, not in Area B. So, yeah, I think that it could be done with a little more consideration of some of the special concerns that we have in Area B, and that this, aside from that definition of affordable housing, I think I would just leave the rest of it until we actually do our OCP update with some consultation. And I'm, sorry that you've done this work and it's not a fit for B, but on the other hand, I could have had a look at it ahead of time and maybe saved some of that work. Like, I would like more of a reference, for example, to the opportunity we have for solar power, not the approach this is taking. So, Thank you. I'm good with the BC guidelines on housing design and construction being a reference point, though, maybe in the plan. But we could get into all of that when we do the OCP.
Yeah, I have some of the same concerns as you. Like with the shade issue, everybody's looking for shade now. And even like, so the heat domes of the last year or two, we've had so-called heat domes in Darcy as long as I've lived there. And even in Pemberton here, we've had over 100 degree Fahrenheit weather for days on end, for in the last 20 years. So it's not something that just came about in the last year or two. So, yeah, if you didn't have air conditioning where we live, it's not very pleasant. So I think we have to really consider that. And as far as like for solar, same thing in Darcy, Pemberton. We get all kinds of sun. You just have to use the location to your advantage. But I don't think we should be trying to change the locations, by logging or whatever, just to accommodate getting more sun on your property. It's the opposite. We definitely need to be thinking about as much shade as possible to keep the temperatures so that it's livable. So, yeah, I think that some of this stuff, we should just be having a far greater discussion on before we move forward. Sal?
Yeah, I see that area A isn't on this. And I'm wondering, is that because we're going through the OCP and it'll be brought up through the OCP process?
Hannah?
Yeah, so it was requested that Area A is not on this, so that any amendments that take place are part of a greater OCP amendment that will be undertaken soon, I believe.
Okay, it started already. So the other question I have, there's no mention of triplexes and quadplexes in this. Is there a reason for that? Because we go back to the public meeting that on the housing issue that we had, that I chaired, you know, it was brought up as it was one of the bylaws that we were reviewing, and I turned them down because on that aspect of it, with the triplexes and the quadplexes, because there wasn't enough community engagement. So as far as process goes, if these get first reading and then it goes to the next step, when does a public hearing or the public get to make comments on it, on the process side?
Anna? You want to comment?
Yeah, so a public hearing, I think that would be after second reading, I believe. After first reading, it gets referred to any stakeholders, such as Ministry of Transportation and surrounding municipalities. And then it goes for a public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
I guess my question would be, without the Area D director being here, because this could impact his area quite directly with all the proposed development stuff going on, should we not be deferring this to the next EAD meeting? I know we don't like to defer things all the time, but I really think that he should have some input into this. We shouldn't be making decisions on his behalf. I'm looking for assistance here.
It sounds reasonable, entirely reasonable. Yeah, I think in the context of the other comments that have been made, though, I wonder if there's a conversation around where we are in the process as well. What I mean by that is if the Area D director was here, based on the conversation, is the committee, I guess we need to think of what direction the committee is going to give back to staff now that we have a board direction to go forward and do this. There is some clear discomfort with it in its current state. Is it meant to be deferred, another conversation, and move forward through the public hearing and address the concerns you've made through that process and engage yourselves, or is there other direction that you want to give to staff? And what would that look like?
Because this will go from here to the board, correct?
Yeah.
So that's a concern I have. So if we move this along, then it goes to the full board. But the Area D director didn't have any input into it. And it shows up there. Are we getting ahead of ourselves?
Yeah, I think that's entirely reasonable. That yeah, if I was in issues, I want an opportunity to participate in this discussion. So maybe not even following through in the conversation about what further direction give to staff. Maybe it's simply a deferral at this point,
Yeah,
and the conversation picks up again at the next EAD committee meeting.
that's,
I see,
Anna, go ahead.
Yeah, so it sounds like there definitely needs to be a bit more work done on the design guidelines, and to sort of tailor them to each electoral area. Maybe that means that I should have a conversation directly with each director when sort of deciding what should go in that amendment. And yeah, it would be great to have a more concise list and then have this report come to another electoral area director meeting, perhaps.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion that we defer this 7.3 to the May the 11th EAD meeting for further discussion. And hopefully our Director Rainbow will be here.
And can I suggest that the area directors that can, with allowing Anna's time, we could have that conversation, at least as far as B goes. I'd be very happy to talk to you about B and make some changes before the May 11th meeting for B, if that works. If that works, I'd be glad for that.
Okay,
So if you're expecting something different to come back for May, for area B, then it wouldn't be just a motion to defer the
Yeah.
entire report. We would have to pull out area B if you're saying that you want, the only change you want to see is the change, keeping the definition of affordable housing, and you want to see it come back with that, just that. Then you'd kind of be on your own, I think, because you provided really clear direction about what you want to see, how you want it revised.
I don't think we should be doing the work of revising this at this meeting necessarily. I think it's kind of a waste of everyone's time except for Anna and mine. Like that, we could work through it and I could talk about what I'd like to see or what I'd like removed. Almost all of it is premature and not appropriate for area B, and I'd like to see it discussed at the OCP. But there are a couple of pieces in there that I think are good and that are improvements. So I didn't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. If we can make some changes before the next EAD, before the next time we look at it at the EAD, I might be quite happy to say, yes, I'd like this to go to the board now. Doesn't that make sense? Or
Perhaps we can do both, because I understand what Kristen's saying, that wouldn't be a deferral. We have to
Right.
get direction to do this, that, and the other thing, but to me, a deferral would work so that the conversation could take place with the
Sure.
area director, and the conversation between yourself and Anna and yourself and Anna and yourself could still take place.
right,
They just wouldn't inform the product that comes forward, but they would certainly inform where it goes next.
yeah,
So that wouldn't be a waste, if it can be fit in between now and then.
okay. That's good with me then. Yeah.
so then I will make a motion to defer this to the next EAD meeting on May the 11th for discussion with Director Rainbow present. Okay, seconder? Okay, moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Now we're off to 7.4, request for decision civic addressing regulatory bylaw number 1124, 2009 amendment bylaw number 1763, 2022.
And Anna's still with us.
Okay, Anna,
Yes, I'm happy to speak to this as well. So this is this report is submitted in response to a resolution made on February 23rd, 2022. That staff prepare an amendment to the civic addressing regulatory bylaw as to maximize the visibility of civic address signage for emergency response purposes, and to provide an option for building permit applicants to obtain signage on a cost recovery basis from the SLRD. And so we started off by closely comparing our civic address regulatory bylaw with bylaws from adjacent regional districts, as well as that of Lillooet and Whistler. Whistler was found to have the most stringent requirements because it's required that civic address numbers are at least 20 centimeters in height, are contrasting with the material that they're placed on, and are reflective. For reference, our current standards require the numbers to be either 6.5 centimeters or 15 centimeters in height, depending on whether the material is reflective or not. But it is not required that the materials are both reflective and contrasting. And so it is proposed that our civic address signage bylaw is amended to increase the minimum height of the numbers to at least 20 centimeters and to require that the sign is both contrasting and reflective. And then further to that, we are also proposing to introduce an option for the property owner to elect on a cost recovery basis that the regional district supply a civic address sign. And that sort of broad statement is what we're proposing to put into the bylaw, because the cost of materials and labor are expected to change over time. And this is why a specific cost is not put into the bylaw. I know that the TNRD kind of had this issue where they put $15 into the bylaw, which changed quite quickly, and then it resulted in a need for them to amend the bylaw again. So we're just trying to avoid that. Let me know if you have any questions. That's about it as far as the summary.
Well, thank you very much. Well done. I fully agree with this. Having standardized address numbers is, from an emergency response point of view, if nothing else, or your relatives trying to find you, is so important. So I fully do support this. Thank you very much for this. Vivian.
I'm thrilled with this work. And as Anna knows, I already have a couple of constituents wanting to get their signs. And that can only be, I've just been looking at this critically in our neighborhoods in Area B, and our signage is just appallingly poor. How an emergency response person ever finds anyone is beyond me. I mean, there's the odd exception, particularly as you get towards the TNRD. And I don't know how they got some of those signs, but if we can mimic and copy and learn from the TNRD's mistakes, that's really good with me. I like all of this work, and the Kamloops company as an option sounds very good. And you may not know that we have a delivery service back and forth between at least Lillooet and Kamloops, which is very reasonable. It's Kai's Transportation. It's a second wash business.
Yeah.
And so getting signs from Kamloops to Lillooet is not a challenge, and I'll bring them down here quite happily if that's necessary. The Volkswagen has room. Thank you. I'm happy to move these three dots.
Yeah, and I will. Oh,
Got a question?
second. Yeah, go ahead, Sal.
Yeah, Anna, I see in it, like, in particular, our property, and we got lots of properties like that, and in Area A, where we've got the road and the property, the actual building is quite a ways away from it. And in this bylaw, you have to have the number up at the driveway and also on the house. Is that correct?
Yeah, when the house is a certain distance away from the driveway, different set of rules applies where they do have to have one at the driveway and at the house as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with all this.
Yeah, very good. I had just come. So yeah, as Sal was saying that, I'm thinking of our house. Our address is off of the Hillmore Logging Road, but the house is probably 1.5 kilometers from that. that site, and we don't even use that particular driveway, come in the front way, so, yeah, that's interesting how that would work. I do have the address out there, but yeah, that's a long ways away.
Mhm, mhm.
To think about. Okay, so moved and seconded,
Well moved.
yeah, I second it, yeah. So moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much, Anna.
I think there's two that's. It's the
I
adoption
see
too.
3.
We did all three. We did all three.
Oh, we did, okay.
Yeah. Okay, 7.5, request for decision, building bylaw number 1611-2020, amendment bylaw number 1764-2022. And this is Anna again.
Yeah, thank you. I'll speak to this one too. So this is also a resolution made on February 23rd, 2022, for staff to amend the building bylaw to require standard complying civic address signage is placed as a condition of a permit being finalized. So although the building bylaw does currently require that civic address signs are displayed immediately upon the issuance of a building permit, the bylaw does not provide placement material guidelines. And so as such, it is proposed that the building bylaw is amended to reference the civic address regulatory bylaw, which includes details pertaining to placement material and size. Just so that there is a connection between the two bylaws, and these regulations do get passed on to building permit holders and our building inspector.
Thank you.
I'll move.
Okay, moved and seconded. Okay, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Hi.
Hello, in person, very nice. Okay, 7.6, request for decision, proposed Goldbridge transfer station fees and charges regulation bylaw number 1761-2022.
Good morning, Angela Belsham, Director of Environmental Services, and we're joined electronically by Marie-Lou, the Resource Recovery Coordinator, who will provide a summary of the report for you.
Yeah, thank you. Good day, everyone. So yes, staff is here today to present the proposed Goldbridge transfer station fees and charges regulation bylaw number 1761-2022. So the proposed bylaw the suggestion is to have the proposed bylaw effective July 1st, 2022, adjusting existing fees and charges for the Goldbridge transfer station to be more accurate and reflect the current cost and the service level of the, and also update the definition and languages around solid waste. The last update was in 2005. Staff updated the bylaw number 525-1993, now knowing as amended bylaw number 936-2005. So the proposed bylaw is to repeal bylaw number 525-1993 and to reflect more effectively the real cost of operating a transfer station. So increasing the tipping fees and providing update definitions of the languages. So since there's been no update of that tipping fee bylaw since 2005, staff really think that adjusting those tipping fees are important. And they also suggest that if awarded, that we update those tipping fees and charges bylaw on a regular basis, no more than once a year, obviously. So staff highlighted a little bit in that report the changes So as mentioned, updating the format and the definitions to align with the other fees and charges bylaw within the regional district, as well as decrease the number of residential household solid waste bag accepted for free, so no tipping fees, from 2 bags to 1 bag per week. And then updating the tipping fee schedule as included in the report. So basically, staff has focused on increasing the tipping fees on anything that was sent to landfill, so any residential solid waste, and trying to really improve and encourage residents to divert by keeping the tipping fee low for anything that is recyclables, to really increase residents to use all the recycling options that are available for them in Goldbridge, but as well as in Lillooet. So I know it's a very quick, high level summary of the bylaw, and I know it's a huge update because it hasn't been updated for so long. So I'm here and I'm available if you have any questions or if you have any additional information that you need.
Thank you for that. So,
Thank you, Ms. LeBlanc. I do have some questions,
Yes.
for sure. I personally use the transfer station, of course, and sometimes I'll go 1 or 2 weeks without taking any garbage or anything to the transfer station. So when I do, if I take 2 bags, that means I gotta pay for 1. So, and I'm probably not the only one that does that, because we do recycle also, right? We do the full complement of recycling. So I'm not too sure about that aspect of it, where, you know, if you bring in more than 1 bag, then you get charged for the second bag. So I'd like to see a revision on that. The next one is garden and yard waste. Grass, hedges, clippings, flowers, weeds, leaves, vegetables, and so on. When I was president of the Gun Lake Fire Protection Society, I got the forest fuels program, asked for it, and it got implemented, where people can take all their forest fuels and so on and so forth. So many people actually combine that in with their forest fuels when they take it in with a pickup load or a trailer load or however they're doing it. But now we're gonna get charged with it, and that's very similar to with the household garbage, right? I think the combination of those two, I'd rather just see them incorporated into the regular garbage. So if somebody brings 3 bags of garbage, you know, if we say we're gonna get 2 bags for free per week, because it all depends on when the people come, that they could throw it into the garbage. You know, hopefully we'll get our organics program going where that stuff could go into the organics. But I know that people do put that into the horse fuel program that we have that's free. So I think we need to have a closer look at that one, along with the garbage bag one. And then let's go to the septic charges next. So currently, nobody pays to dump it. Does the contractor pay for dumping it there? Or is the contractor fully free right now?
No, so the reason there's a non-applicable as part of the current cost, it's because it was never included in the bylaw. However, there's been people have been charged, contractor have been charged to dump in that septic trench. I'm not sure what happened and how they created a cost without including it in the bylaw, and that's why I want to include that in the bylaw as we're repealing it. But yeah, contractors that have been used the septic trench have been charged per load. Now we're charging per cubic meters or imperial gallon because it's a little bit more accurate with septic trench.
How much was the charge per dump?
I do believe that the contractor right now is charging $40 for a full tank.
And that gets paid back, and that he recoups it from the property owners, correct? In his bill?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is depending on which contractor, like the Hoiston has a larger truck, and then they've got this pickup truck that they mainly use for doing pumping out outhouses and porta potties. So, you know, when they're doing that, they're picking up from many different properties. So how is he going to figure out what each property has to pay? Because in the end, it's got to go through the contractor, right? Because nobody's dumping their stuff in there by themselves.
No.
Other than like an RV or like an RV camper or trailer that can dump there right now currently.
Yes.
So those are easy to cost out those ones. But when it comes to the contractor, it makes it quite hard. Because he could be charging 40, and if he's got 3 or 4 people there, he's charging everybody that $40, so he's making $120 on it. So I'm just curious how that's going to get managed with the contractors.
So yeah, so the fact that some contractors may have different truck size, that's why we moved from a load to per cubic meters. So usually what contractors should be able to know and estimate how many houses they're able to service with the truck they're using, and then be able to charge per house depending on its cost. It will be a little bit different. They will have to get used to it. But I just think that right now, until then, they've been getting a pretty good price to use the Goldbridge trenches.
I think if we make this bylaw, if I was to approve it at first step, I would want a little bit more clarity in it with the septic, because personally, my septic tank is 1,200 gallons, and basically it's $65 when you calculate it out, and I've got no issues paying that, but others may. So I would like to have a little bit more clarity in there on the contractor side, because really they're the only ones doing it, just the contractors. And also on the garbage bag, that aspect of it, as I've mentioned.
Marie-Lou?
Yes.
The rest is good. I like the changes.
Thank you. We can for sure provide more clarity moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Vivian?
Thank you. It's nice to see both of you. Of course, I was wondering, looking at this, what the heck is banned material? And it's gone from NA to $55. What are we talking about here? Like mercury or what's banned?
Radioactive
So it's anything that is not waste accepted under waste. So if someone was to decide not to recycle, they could bring their bag, but then they will be charged a banned material surcharge. So it's really to enforce everyone that is not doing what they're supposed to do. It is, it's something that I've been updating towards when I updated Divine Transfer Station bylaw. It's something that Squamish and Whistler also have in their bylaw, that specific wording, because it reminds people this is the material you shouldn't be adding to your garbage bag. It is banned. It doesn't go to the landfill.
Oh, okay.
However, the contractor at the garbage transfer station, Kara, she is very, very good of letting people know that it is not accepted in the garbage. So I don't think we will be using it as much, but I still think that it's a good thing to have in our bylaw.
Okay, batteries, car batteries, $2. I thought, you better get ready for some electric vehicle batteries. $2 is pretty cheap. I had one more. So the things that don't get accepted there, are they just driven into Lillooet then? Is that what happens? Okay.
Yeah, most of what we have as not accepted under garbage transfer station is accepted at the Lillooet recycling area.
Okay. May I make one more comment?
Yeah.
Just when I got to the bottom and I saw that the communication plan was via the SLRD website and Facebook. And I just think, will we use posters or brochures or the newspaper? But you know what works in area A, so that just is a comment. Thank you.
Sal, you had something?
No, I'm good.
So you want to move this as presented, or you want to move it with your recommended?
I'd like to see it come back
Okay,
with some changes.
with some changes.
Yeah,
Okay, so then we would make a motion to have it come back to the May the 11th EAD meeting with the appropriate changes. Okay, moved and seconded.
Yep.
Okay, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
Do we
Thank you.
Stay overnight on May 11th?
Yeah,
I could go swimming in the pool. Okay.
thanks, Angela.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.7 is direction request, connecting remote communities and First Nation reserves to high-speed internet, request to participate.
Thank you, Chair. That's myself. Would you like me to sit down at the presentation table?
I'd like that very much. Thank you.
May I just run to the washroom?
Sure,
A 3-minute
by
break.
all means.
Thank you. Now I can give my full attention back.
Great. Would you like me to wait for Director?
Yeah, let's just wait till Vivian gets back. But on an exciting note, we have fiber optics downtown Darcy. Of course, we haven't quite got it hooked up to our house yet. It's hanging on the side. But they've been out twice and then they're gonna come back. Someday it'll be actually up and running. It's wonderful.
Shaw's been ripping up the streets in Lillooet with their infrastructure.
No, it's good.
It's gonna have a major paving project too. And maybe that's when I get trailer paved. We'll see. Rain is churning.
Opportunities.
Did I show you those things?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
It shows what we get. You can just scroll this way.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them, yeah.
Have you seen them? Yeah. You know, one thing I didn't think in that price is insurance, you know, like a license plate, trailer insurance.
Oh, okay. So
I'm thinking $200 per trailer, $800 I need to supply. So funds from my select funds to cover the cost. It probably isn't 200. I only pay about 60 for my trailer, utility trailer.
Yeah.
Same. But can I add that on later as a?
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't amend that,
Oh,
when you make your motion,
yeah,
right? There shouldn't be any,
yeah,
shouldn't be any reason.
for the amounts. Yeah, well, actually. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there shouldn't be.
Just increase each amount by $200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you. You ready, Vivian?
I am, thank you.
And thank you, Chair and Directors. My name is Philippa Campbell. I'm the Project and Research Coordinator here at the SLRD. And before you today is a report regarding a request to participate that the province has released concerning connectivity. So the report is largely as presented. I'll do just a brief summary in terms of connectivity. There has been a lot of work in this space recently. The summary on page 2 of the report, it sort of puts together, there's a couple of key reports that have come out that may be of interest. There has been obviously a lot of projects underway in the SLRD. We had some brief conversation just before this item started, some of which have had SLRD involvement. So there is a lot of work underway in the SLRD. And we have also had the announcement from the Government of Canada and British Columbia of quite a large amount of money, 830 million, a partnership to support connectivity projects, specifically improving access to high-speed internet in rural, remote, and Indigenous communities. So as part of that funding announcement, the province is reaching out to local governments, Indigenous communities, with a request to participate, which is the subject of the report today. And that's for information to help guide that funding, sort of take a look at the connectivity, how connectivity is funded in the province, and how best to kind of use that money moving forward. Now, connectivity has come before the board before. There has been a commitment to look at a survey of the region by the board, and that is still sort of on the work plan. The reason I'm bringing that up is that would be the piece that would give us more detailed understanding of what projects are underway and where the needs are. So we don't currently have sort of in-depth technical information to submit for this request to participate. But it is an opportunity to submit comments, have a look at areas of focus and so on. Today, looking from this group for a recommendation to the board that we do go ahead with to participate, if that is what you would like to do, and can take those comments, any comments, capture them here today, and that would be put into a draft response, which will come to the board meeting. This is a tight turnaround. Obviously, we have the Easter weekend coming up, but given the amount of information that we have, we are not looking to put a detailed response in here. But if there is interest, certainly to have the voice of the SLID heard through this process. And part of that would also be reaching out to management staff if they have any comments in their area of expertise as well, if time permits them to do so. Now, not captured in this report, there was a call for local governments at the end of last week, and I believe CAO was at that call. And Chair, if we might just see if there was any update from that meeting, that would be great.
Mr. Chair, yeah, the Chair Ford attended, as did Director Elliott, and Ms. Campbell touched on a lot of the points that were raised there, and it was, I think the key points noted the province's intent to pursue this in a regional way, or pursue this in collaboration with regional governments and local governments. They recognize that it's not a program that they intend to drive from the center, if I can use that language. So that $830+ million is meant to be how that's spent is meant to be informed through collaboration. And this is really an opportunity, as was mentioned, to get a really good understanding of the current state of play and the gaps. And one of the things that was raised in that meeting was the collaboration with the service providers and sharing that information with regional districts, so that we would have access to information we previously wouldn't have been able to access before, and have a good picture of where the gaps really lie. But that's all I would add from that meeting.
So, as I had said, they've laid a fiber optics line right through to Darcy now. And they're in the process of hooking up. There's a little bit of a challenge in Birkin apparently with CN, but for the majority of the area, people are getting hooked up, and lots are. So does TELUS relay that information to us as a regional district, where they're at with this connectivity? Because from what I've been told, the people that have got it have said it's made a dramatic improvement over what they had, whether it was satellite or the previous TELUS, I guess hard wire or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But the fiber optics has made a dramatic improvement. So do they let us know, or are they in touch with the province on a regular basis to say where they're at with this program?
I'll defer maybe to Ms. Campbell in the first instance, but I would just start by saying that this is very much a question of priority. I'm not aware of an active program that we're pursuing in this area, and I think that's reflected by the fact that we've got a very short time to kind of share our feedback. But I'll defer. But one of the points that was made in this meeting last week was, now is the time to reestablish, if they're not established, those links with the service providers, because that $830 million that's committed is a significant amount of money, and the target is clear in terms of what they're trying to achieve. So, but I defer to Ms. Campbell on the state of info we get from them.
Thank you, Chair. In the most case, the internet service providers are private companies, and a lot of the information that they work with is private. So they are, in a lot of cases, not obligated to loop the regional district in on the projects that are out there. However, there has been presentations, I believe, at the board level. Not at this level, but at the board meeting, where they have come in and said, this is a project that we're working on, this is a timeline, and helping keep updated. So certainly there has been communication, and there has been letters back and forth where the board has requested that we ask specific questions of an ISP. So it's not a set requirement of any projects that they put through. It can be a little bit difficult to get information. We have in previous reports put together a list of projects that we were tracking. So they include, projects that we are aware of or that have been funded, but we might not necessarily have been given that information. Some of it we've had to go out and say, okay, well, we can see this funding's come in for this leg of the fibre optic install, so we know it's happening, but it's not necessarily been a specific communication from the ISP. So that has been identified as a gap in other regions as well.
So I guess my other question then would be the 800 and some odd $million that is designated, that's just for BC?
That's correct.
Yeah, and who disperses that money? Like, these companies have to then apply for that funding to do their upgrades. So that's distributed by the province then, or the feds?
Do you want to speak to the process, just in terms of the initial sort of gap analysis, and then?
Sure. So the way that the funding, there has been pools of funding, my understanding is there's been pools of funding both from the federal government and from the province of BC previously. And some projects in the SLRD have been funded under those programs. And it's a case of the ISPs, the internet service providers, applying for that funding from the province. As a local government, we're not able to go in and apply for that funding. It has to be from an ISP, basically, someone who is technically able to put in the infrastructure. So that's how the process has gone. And I think previously it's been on a sort of case-by-case basis, whereas this new funding announcement and partnership and the RTP is the province saying, well, maybe we need to look at this in a more of a strategic manner, and make sure that we're working with the ISPs a bit more directly, in zones, in ways that will get people connected in the right order, if that makes sense. So that's, in short, the funding has gone to the ISPs. And so in some cases, ISPs, I believe, can partner with regional, like if a regional district or a municipality has gone through the process, there can be a partnership there, but usually it's just been the ISPs themselves, project by project.
Interesting. Thank you for that. Sal.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been part of that knowledge connectivity network that the provincial government puts on, and we've been having sessions, quite a few. Unfortunately, I've had to miss a bunch in the last little while, as I've had so many other meetings, unfortunately. But it's good, and it's a good program that they're doing. So a little bit of background is that some of that, the funding that Minto Communications applied for, NDIT administered, I can't remember, a whole bunch of money that the government said, look, you take care of this one for the northern area.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that there's other organizations that the government says, here, you take care of that, and so on and so forth. And they're the ones that dished out the money on the applications. I don't know how this one's gonna work, but I know Minto Communications, I had quite a long discussion with them on this, because they were looking at putting the RTP in. And very similar, how are we ever gonna get any data that we can get in such a short time? Because one of the constraints that they're gonna have is they did do an upgrade of 250,000, part of that 2 million that they got on the tower, the TELUS tower on top of Mission Mountain. And it's maxed out now at 1,000 megabits. And for them to go up to say 5,000 or more megabits, it's a major infrastructure project. And they currently, some of the big corporations like Dykes Lodge, Braylorn Mine, BC Hydro gets going with a big project. So there's a whole bunch of these that take up quite a bit of it already. And I have no idea how they used to do it when they only had 100 megabits at that tower before. Now they got 1,000. So, and with the population increase that we've had, the more customers coming on board, they can see that that's the next step, is that backbone. And backbone is part of this, this program here. So, you know, TELUS does have fiber to that tower, going up to that tower. And they've got fiber now to the cell tower at the dam, at Terzaghi Dam. So, you know, they were thinking, okay, you know, down the road, is there any way to get fiber all the way into a Goldbridge area? Or do we ask for more megabits up at the tower than that? So each project has its own issues, especially along Road 40 with, you know, they're gonna run it along the power line there. It's a crazy power line. And we go down lots because of that in our valley. But yeah, I would like to see this move forward. I mean, you know, the opportunity's there to at least get your foot in the door. And we're crazy if we don't. Just plain and simple. You know.
I do want to clarify that this, you know, this is a sort of chance to comment. It does not set us up for receiving funding or anything like that. But if I just paraphrase that subject that example that you just gave, it would be an opportunity to comment on, you know, population increases in our rural areas, that infrastructure needs to be built to be in alignment with that, you know, and potentially as an economic development component there. You spoke of the businesses in the area, and the road safety piece as well. So if I'm looking at our response, those are the types of things that we would be looking to put in a draft response.
Yeah.
So, but I do just want to clarify that it doesn't set us up for any funding.
No, but we got to look at the other. I mean, that's just one area in the SLRD, right? So how about area B, and you know, what have they got? What do they have at Pavilion Lake, or even where you are? You know,
B is quite a mishmash, and there's some serious gaps, including my house. That's neither here nor there. We have 3 service providers. Shaw's ripping up the pavement right now to provide a better service to downtown Lillooet. TELUS has put up a new tower, but if that means anything, we've yet to see. We also have LitNet, which works with TELUS, I believe, out of Lytton, and provides, actually, from all reports, a very inexpensive and reliable service. But I'm not really knowledgeable enough to speak to some of the other gaps that we have, except I know that we have them. I know that, you know, Zoom isn't a possibility for a lot of people because of the lack of service and so on. We would want like an expert. NDIT also came to my mind because they're doing not a bad job in the north, but that doesn't help us in the SLRD. But I'm sure that there's some people in area B that know a heck of a lot more about this than I do, and that we would want a knowledgeable sort of person to speak to you to help with what we said. This is an opportunity. I don't think we can let it go by. So I think we should participate if we have the capacity.
And through the chair, just to speak to that. So the first part is that April 25th is our submission date, and this needs to turn around and get back to the board next week. So there isn't time to do an in-depth review. Although I appreciate that there is more expertise to be found in all of the areas. You know, for that more in-depth piece, as noted in the beginning of this report, you know, that regional connectivity study is still a priority in 2022.
Right.
You know, that has not been initiated yet by staff because of other items in the work plan.
Yeah.
But that would be, that is the opportunity to get more information there. So, you know, we can put in as much information as we can into the RTP, but we do have to be mindful of the time frame that we're working in. So, but again, from your comments, there's, you know, we can talk to. It is known that in some areas, you know, service levels don't support video conferencing, which is, you know, something that is required for business.
Well, when the doctors wanted to hear from Bonnie Henry, for example, early in the COVID, they couldn't, the whole system crashed. Things like that actually matter. But yeah, okay. So just to say there's gaps,
I think it's gaps, but if there's specific like that, if there's specific impacts that you're seeing, that was something that was welcomed with this RTP.
okay,
So
well, that's probably my best example.
yeah, okay, that's great.
Thank you.
So we need a motion then to participate in this request. Is that right?
So recommendation to the board, to submit to make the submission incorporating the feedback received from the EAD committee, something like that.
I could bring a draft response to the board. Is that something that we need to capture? It's a good idea. So we have something that does, is that something we can capture in that?
That'll move things along. I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's moved and seconded. Okay. Call a question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
Can I make a comment, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Philip, you did an excellent job of this report. And in fact, what I did as I was going through it, they got links in there to KMZ files. So I did that, I downloaded all 4, and then I kept on going down. And lo and behold, you took screenshots of Google Earth of each one of those. So that's pretty impressive. I should have done that first, but now I've got the KMZ files on my on Google Earth, so I can, because they get updated all the time. So it's good. Thank you.
And certainly, thank you. Appreciate that feedback. Certainly, I've put together a draft response based on the comments here. But you know, there is time. Those KMZ files are also available to other directors as well to have a look at ahead of them. You know, if there's any amendments to be made at the board meeting. So they have done quite a good job at the provincial level to put that information together. So you can zoom in a little better than the maps in the report.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lunch is here.
Lunch is here. That's very good news. Vivian, I can see she's starting to quiver over there looking for lunch. Okay, well, we'll just take a short recess then. What are we at now, 12:35? How about we come back at 1 o'clock? Is that okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so we will adjourn this meeting until 1 o'clock. Thank you. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Oh, the green light's on or something? Very nice. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed your lunch. Director's reports, 8.1. Anderson Lake Docks, portable washrooms funding. $3,500 from Area C Select Funds. And I will move this.
Second.
Sal's gonna second it.
Sorry, Chair. So this is just allocated and staff is gonna take care of this, or is this grant?
No, this, yes, staff's gonna take care of Allison. Okay. She's the one that actually requested it. Okay, so it's moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. 8.2 is water trailers, I guess we're calling them. One for Ponderosa, Little Lake Estates, Brick and Fire Protection Society, and Permanent Meadows Fires Association. And actually, I'm going to change this. Right, I want to add, so it's 11,698.68 to each group. I want to make it 11,898 because I forgot about trailer insurance. Have to have insurance on it, right, to tow it. So I'd like to make that amendment.
So, sorry, is it 0.68 cents or just $11,898?
It is 0.68, so.
Did you ever think of rounding it up?
They're very, yeah, they're very punctual. Well, I asked them to send me the invoices this way or whatever. So yeah, it was to the penny. So that's nice, very good. But
I'll make the motion to amend it,
So
with
we
the
don't need an
amendment.
amendment because we haven't moved it yet.
oh, okay, yeah, very good. I don't know, Vivian is
I'm in favor of $11,898.68.
Sal, show Vivian that.
Question about
And Chair, is this upon submission of receipts? Or
No, I've talked to all these people and I'll talk to them again. And I also have to find out exactly when they're gonna be delivered. So I want the money in these people's accounts so they can pay for them when they're delivered. Because they're gonna write the checks for the units. That's the way it was described to me by Sarah and Suzanne. Because at first, what my intention was, the regional district, Area C, would just write a check and pay for all four of them. But they thought it was better if we actually gave the money needed to each outfit or each group, and then they paid for it themselves.
Suzanne's on there.
Oh, Suzanne,
Anne is here.
how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
All right, yeah, so I was just explaining 8.2 and why we broke it up into 4 individual checks, I guess, from the total. And
Yeah,
did you hear me say I wanted to change the number?
Yeah, so that's fine if you want to add more funding to them, for the insurance. But yeah, like you mentioned, we really should just be granting the funds versus purchasing the trucks for them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Hey, so here's a question then. The insurance stands that the trailer insurance that they pay for, then it would be in the name of Permanent Meadows Fire Department, Burke and Fire, Little Lake State. It would be in their names, not ours, because it's registered to them, right? It's their unit. So then the insurance would be in their name, not ours.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. But
Are these all like registered societies, these groups, or they are? Is there any way to fund a group that's not a society for fire? I've got a community group that does do fire response, but they don't have a formal society. Can select funds go to them for the purposes of firefighting?
well, I would say yes, but I think we should let Suzanne answer that.
Yeah, and I would relay that to Sarah as well. So I would think that just put to your proposal to through and then we can look at it. But right now, I can't really give an opinion. I'm assuming that we would have to get an agreement for them if they're not in a society that's for fire protection, for liability reasons. But
Yeah.
we'd have to look at each instance separately and review.
So two of these groups are are societies. Lillooet Lake Estates and
Ponderosa.
Ponderosa are corporate entities.
Yeah,
And we've used wording previously when we gave some money to Pinecrest and Black Tusk, so we'll use that same wording.
okay. And we've given money to both Ponderosa and LLE for enhancing their fire protection equipment. In fact, later on, there's another annual request from Ponderosa to keep augmenting their equipment. Maybe just later on, I'll contact Mike Morley and find out when they're going to do some of their prescribed burning fire smart stuff. They are very, very good at it. In fact, I've said to Sarah numerous times, they should be the poster child of our programs. They're very conscientious. They have lots of support from the little fire base. But, maybe if I let you know far enough in advance, both of you, you might want to come over and spend a day and see exactly what they're doing. Because that could be used in your areas too. Like I say, they're a great example.
That would be really generous, and I'm interested, and I also have a couple people from the Yawacum and Texas Creek who might be interested. I mean, it's a long shot that they might be available to come, but it's still,
Well, maybe we
it's a
can plan
pretty
when they
nice
are.
offer. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that's good. So anyways, I'll move this. I don't know if it's already been moved up.
You
I
move
think
it,
it has.
Yep.
I'll
with the
second.
new number.
So
Yeah.
moved and seconded with the new number, and I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 8.3 funding request for seniors activity and lunches program. Director Demare. So is this one of the ones? Can you move this now?
Yep, yeah, you bet.
Okay, good.
I'd just like to talk to it first. These seniors lunches started back probably 2 years ago now. Previous director, Demare, got some funding and started this program. And it was really good. And through COVID, of course, we couldn't do it. And we've had 2 sessions already. We had another one on Saturday. So I want to continue this, and I want to add that other social aspect of it for activities. We did have our community paramedic at the time when we had one come in and do a number of different sessions and health-related sessions. And I want to continue that, plus add some more activities to it. And I know I can come up with some different activities. So there's two resolutions there. One to rescind one from October 9, 2019. That was pretty time consuming, and another one where I want to fund 3,000 through select funds for the rest of my term. So no strings attached. Just fund it by a grant and be done with it. So I'd like to bring both.
Okay,
What do you got
very
there?
good.
Yep.
Do I have to
Second.
rescind one first and then make the second motion?
1 second, I just want to check Is that, do you know, Director Demare, if that's still showing on your select funds report?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Yeah, it's never used.
okay, perfect, yeah, so maybe separately? There was
Okay.
the one rescinding and then the one.
I'll make a motion on the rescind.
Second,
Second, okay, moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
And this- I'll move the second one to fund $3,000. Grand Overbridge Community Club.
second,
Okay, moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
And I'll make a comment. Since our seniors, we really haven't had any major event other than the Winterfest was the first one. And this kind of played off a bit now. And it's really good to see people back together again, talking and creating the relationships again.
Yeah, that's good, excellent.
Yep.
Okay, very good. So 8.4, we're just going to defer that again to the next EAD. Okay, I'll make that motion. Vivian will second it. And I'll call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Correspondence for action, request for funding, Ponderosa Community, continued fire smart activities. And I will move this. And as I've said, these folks do an amazing job. They should be very proud of what they're doing. And like I say, wonderful job. So anyways, I'll move it.
I'll second
So I
it.
was going to second it. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. 9.2, request for funding, SWIM's leverage funding support for water safety and training. This is,
Can I make a comment?
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe Vivian, you can make. a
no, go
comment.
ahead, Bridge River Valley Community Association.
I don't think the Bridge River Valley Community Association.
This is where I say, like, the staff gotta get up there and get it sorted out. Where's A, where's B, who's what? This is not the Bridge River Valley Community Association. This would be, how does the letter look? Page 147. What does it say? Did I miss something there?
So this is actually in your area, Vivian.
Totally, yes. But you can take the money from A.
I'm sure.
So it's SWIMS that's making this request. What is this on behalf of Lillooet and District Rescue Society? Sorry,
Yeah, it should just be
Just
Lillooet
delete.
and District Rescues, or the society, yeah, I don't know where that's.
this
from.
is, yeah, just get rid of
The
that.
Society for Wellness, Instruction and Mobility through Swimming.
Yes. An awkward name, but that's it, and the initials make SWIMS. Okay, I would like to move that we fund $2,000 from Electoral Area B Select Funds to match a contribution from SWIMS to support water safety and training programs for 2022 and to leverage a funding request application to BC Hydro Broad Impact Grant.
Okay, moved and seconded. Sal seconds it. I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried.
Thank you.
9.3, request for funding Lillooet and District Rescue Society, funding support for training and recertification for Swiftwater Rescue Technician, Level 1.
I would like to change it before we make a motion.
Okay,
And I'd like to put $1,000 from Area A select funds into this. So Area B would only need to put 1,000 in. And the reason being is that they've done a lot of work in our area this year alone with 2 fatalities, 2 incidents that had fatalities. So
very good.
I
So,
definitely want to support it. And it's also a tax service that we pay into. along with
It's a
Lillooet.
shared service. Yeah.
so have you got that changed then? You're okay?
So
Okay,
a motion to fund Lillooet and District Rescue Society for $1,000 from Area A select funds, $1,000 from Area B select funds, for the volunteers to take part in training and recertification for Swiftwater Rescue Technician Level 1.
okay, you're gonna move that, Vivian? Sal's gonna second it. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried.
That's really great.
Thank you. Okay, request for funding Birkin Recreational Culture Society Easter activities in Birkin. So I will move this. Looking forward to
I will second.
all the kids having a great time. So this is very good. Okay, thank you. Moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. 9.5, request for funding tourism permanent slow food cycle Sunday partnership invitation. And I again would move this $2,500 from select funds to go towards a gold sponsorship from Electoral Area C for the August 21st, 2022 slow food cycle. So it's wonderful that they're back in business again. So that's good. So moved and seconded. Call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. 9.6, request for funding, Just Do It Sports Society.
Yep, this wonderful organization requests funding of $2,000 from Electoral Area B select funds to support youth sports in Lillooet. I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it. Moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. 9.7.
Yep, the Gun Lake Ratepayer Association, we've had some discussions at the community meetings that they have. And we've got some issues with some wakeboarders just causing havoc on the shoreline and people that are recreating with paddleboards, etc. So this campaign is just to help that, get the awareness out of what proper wakeboarding protocols are on lakes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Question, and I don't want to
So,
throw,
I'll
just maybe should I ask a question first? We looked into doing this, there was a request for doing it on Pavilion Lake for the same reasons. And I was like met with no, anything to do with on the lake is Transport Canada, and that's a federal process, and it's a complicated bureaucratic process, and only a First Nations or a local government can make an application to do anything around controlling traffic on
yeah, this is just a
information.
information.
So that's okay. Okay, that's terrific.
Okay, so moved and seconded.
Yep.
Sal moved it. Vivian's gonna second it.
Need to do something
Call the
simple.
question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. 9.8. Now, these are the two that,
Yeah, I'd like to defer 9.8 to 9.9
okay,
to the
and that would be to the,
EAD meeting. The next,
on May the 11th.
maybe 11th.
Okay,
Chair, can we have two separate?
yeah, two separate. So 9.8, Sal's going to move to defer.
Move.
Okay, I'll second that. And I'll call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. So that's to May 11th. EAD. And now we go to 9.9.
I'd like to defer 9.9 May 11th.
To May the 11th.
Second that.
Okay, moved and seconded, call the question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Okay, decision on additional late business. I don't believe we have any. Late business. Correspondence for information. Honorable Rob Fleming, Minister of Transportation Infrastructure, Summer Road Maintenance Response Letter. I'll just make a comment before we do whatever we're gonna do with it. I read the letter and I was rather disappointed with the reply. It was just very generic. Thank you very much. We're doing a wonderful job. We changed the rules in, I think, 2017, 18 with the contractors, new contracts. And like I've said time and time again, road maintenance in Area C since that time is horrible. So I would have thought that the minister would have just given us more hope in his statement, and I didn't see that. So that's my comment.
Yeah, my comment is I will be contacting our regional manager, Primati, and district manager, which is Michelle Schillings,
Yeah,
and seeing what changes they've had in their quantified maintenance services. And I want it documented so I can take it to the public. If I'm not satisfied, then I'm going to be doing another director report for the board so that we can get this at UBCM in the end. And I'll take it to Silga if required, and then move forward to UBCM.
and the thing is, you know, this lower standard of maintenance is all over the province. It's just not us, it's everywhere. So they've made a conscious decision to lower the standard of maintenance on all our roads. And, you know, like I say, when I drove around 2 weeks ago with our area rep, there's some really dangerous places on the roads that are traveled every day from people going to work or school buses, whatever, and they're not being looked after. They haven't been looked after in 3 years since the new contractor took over. And I'm sure it's the same in your areas.
Yeah.
That's just wrong. So anyways.
Yeah, and at the EAD conference last week, the number one issue that was brought up was roads. Ministry of Transport roads.
Yeah.
Everybody had an issue. It's not, and that's why the next step is to go further, because those class 4 to 7 roads, if you look close at the specifications like I have, it's amazing. And, you know, like some of these gravel roads only get graded once a year and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's all they're allowed to do unless they're in those quantified plans. So I'm gonna get to see what we have for our area in the quantified plans.
Yeah. So what do we do with this? Just receive it?
It's just, yeah, it's going to be going to the board agenda because the
Yeah.
letter was back to the board, but Chair Ford wanted it on this agenda, so you could see it before
Yeah.
that. So just for information, but this conversation again, whatever you plan to take to the board this month to follow.
And the beauty of it now, it's public, and I can share that. So,
Okay, so then we would just have a motion to receive for information.
Second. Yeah.
And moved in second, I'll call the question. All in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Any directors notice a motion?
Is this where you would say, I'm planning on
Yes.
doing something dramatic at the next EAD meeting, for example?
How dramatic?
Just
We
checking.
need to know. We need to know.
No, okay, I don't have any plans, I don't have anything at the moment.
Okay, now, we're kind of stymied here because the next thing on the agenda, Director Rainbow always took care of it.
Oh,
Yeah, so we
Can't
could be
wait.
here for a while. So Vivian,
I'd
it's
like
up
to
to
make a
you.
motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I'll second that.
very good. Moved and seconded. Call question, all in favor, we are adjourned.